Spirit harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, the trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
And good morning. Welcome to All Souls. Love is the spirit of our community. Whether you are joining us in person or online, or perhaps you're catching up with us later on, please know that you matter to this community. And in this time of great division, may you find hope, love, and community here. So if you would please rise in body or spirit to greet your neighbor with your name and pronouns, and people online, please introduce yourselves in the chat.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Fran Quigley. My pronouns are he, him. I will be serving as your worship associate for today's service. Together with the Reverend Nancy Olson, our Minister of Congregational Life and Faith Formation, whose pronouns are she, her, and with Liz Elsmore, our music director, whose pronouns are also she, her, we are your worship team on the chancel today. Reverend Katie, our senior minister, will be back with us next Sunday. People of all ages are, of course, joyfully welcomed in service, but nursery care is available if that option works best for you. We invite everyone to please complete one of the connection cards that are the end of the pews, very colorfully adorned, and those connection cards are a great way to let us know if you would like support, if you need assistance, if you have new contact information, or if you just have an interest, comment, or question, hence the term connection. Please place the card in the offering basket. For a few quick announcements, after church today at about 11:45 in the music room, the prison ministry team invites all of us to their second meeting of the book discussion, We Do This Till We Free Us, by Mariam Kaba. More details about the book and the team and the contact info for the team are in the know this week. Also today, there is a fundraising opportunity. Get my flyer out here. The fundraising opportunity is at Panera Bread in Glendale from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And if you bring the flyer that is linked in the know, or a physical version of the flyer, which is available in the lobby as well, if you bring it to Panera Bread during that time, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., All Souls will get 30% of the proceeds. One last announcement, next Sunday, August 2nd, is the annual Backpack Blessing Sunday. Bring your backpacks, bring your briefcases, bring your computer bags, bring your purses, bring any bag that you take regularly to school, work, volunteering, etc., so we may bless your way forward this year. As we begin our time together, we acknowledge the land itself and those who have sustained it through the generations. We are upon the unceded land of the Lenape, the Miamia, the Kaskaskia, the Shawnee, and the Kickapoo people who were pushed from their land, people whose children have been stolen for generations. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to find ways to make true reparations.
Thank you, Fran. And also thank you, Virginia, for being here to tell our story, and the Ray Hills to sing, and our other choir members to help today. From Blossoms by Lee Young Lee. From Blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches. We bought it from the boy at the bend in the road where we turned toward signs painted peaches. From laden boughs, from hands, from sweet fellowship in the bins, comes nectar at the roadside. Succulent peaches we devour, dusty skin and all, comes the familiar dust of summer, dust that we eat. Oh, to take what we love inside, to carry within us an orchard, to eat not only the skin but the shade, not only the sugar but the days, to hold the fruit in our hands, adore it, then bite into it, the round jubilance of peach. There are days we live as if death were nowhere in the background, from joy to joy to joy, from wing to wing, from blossom to blossom, impossible blossom to sweet, impossible blossom. Let us worship together. And let us sing 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind. And we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Good morning. My name is Mercedes Cohen, pronoun she, her, and I'm here with Betty Lynch, pronoun she, her. We are your board co-presidents. The ritual of lighting our chalice reminds us to continually renew our promises, to live into our covenant, to put love into action, and to live out the community of love and justice we aim to be. Please rise in body or spirit as we share the words printed in our order of service in Spanish and English. We will start with Spanish. If you are with us online, please let us know in the chat where you are lighting your chalice from. El amor es secreto de Espíritu Iglesia. Su beso y su ley. No juntos buscan la verdad en el amor. Damos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant.
Good morning. I get to do one of my favorite things, which is read children's books. This one's by Charlotte Zolotow, who it was written in 1962. She had been a children's book editor at HarperCollins for many years and wrote many classic books I'm sure you've all read. This one, I'm not sure what the age of the child is. You guys can maybe help me in this quadrant. 5, 8, he's asking some pretty smart questions, so let's see. The great bright yellow sun had shone all day, and now the sun was coming to an end. The light in the sky changed from blue to pink to a strange dusky purple. The sun sank lower into the long glowing clouds. The little boy was sorry to see the day end. He and his friend had played in the garden. When they were tired of playing, they lay down in the grass and felt the sun on them, warm and soft, like a sleepy cat resting. There had been icy lemonade in the afternoon, which they drank under the pear tree. And the little boy's father read him a story on the porch before he went to bed. Now his mother came to say goodnight. "Why does the day have to end?" he asked her. "So night can begin," she said. "Look." She pointed out the window where high in the darkening sky, behind the branches of the pear tree, the little boy could see a pale sliver of moon. "That's the night beginning," his mother said, resting her head on his shoulder, his hand on his, what's she doing? His mother said, resting her hand on his shoulder. "The night with the moon and stars and darkness for you to dream in." "Well, where does the sun go when the day ends?" the little boy asked. "The day doesn't end," said his mother. "It begins somewhere else. The sun will be shining there when night begins here. Nothing ends." "Nothing?" the little boy asked. "Nothing," his mother said. "It begins in another place or in a different way." The little boy lay in bed, and his mother sat beside him. "Where does the wind go when it stops?" he asked. "It blows away to make the trees dance somewhere else." "Where does the dandelion fluff go when it blows away?" "It carries the seed of new dandelions to someone's lawn." "Where does the mountain go after the top?" "Down to where it becomes the valley." "Where do waves go when they break on the sand, sucked back to the sea into new waves?" Like I said, this boy asked lots of questions. But I think we can all remember those days when there was lots of questions. And I'm not sure if the mother's slightly, but she has good answers. "Where does the rain go when the storm is over? Into clouds to make other storms." "And where do clouds go when they move across the sky? To make shade somewhere else." "And the leaves in the forest when they turn color and fall? Into the ground to become part of new trees with new leaves." "But when the leaves fall, that is the end of something," the little boy said. "It is the end of autumn." "Yes," his mother said, "the end of autumn is when the winter begins." "And the end of winter?" the little boy asked. "The end of winter, when the snow melts and the birds come back, is the beginning of spring," his mother said. The little boy smiled. "It really does go on and on," he said. "Nothing ends." He looked out at the sky. The sun was gone completely. The lovely pink clouds had disappeared. The sky was dark and purple and black. High above the branches of the pear tree shone clearly now a thin new moon. "Today is over," his mother said. "It's time for sleep, and tomorrow morning when you wake, the moon will be beginning a night far away, and the sun will be here to begin a new day." Thank you.
you, Liz. Thank you, Virginia, for that story. Please join me in taking a few moments to note that which is currently bringing joy or sorrow to our community. As you heard from Reverend Nancy and as you heard from Virginia, we're currently giving special attention today to transitions. But with transitions and the inevitable changes, we know they bring with them joy, they bring with them sorrow, and oftentimes they bring with them plenty of helpings of both. In the joys category, today we wish a happy birthday to Annie Rayhill, who is spending her birthday singing for us. So Annie. Now let us hold a moment of silence together for the joys and sorrows in our hearts that are as yet unnamed. Thank you.
Oh, to take what we love inside, to carry within us an orchard, to eat not only the skin but the shade, not only the sugar but the days, to hold the fruit in our hands, adore it, then bite into it, the round jubilance of peach. I love peaches. Some of you may, some of you may not. But I remember as a young child, my grandparents had a small farm, and they had a number of fruit trees, peach trees. And I remember climbing as much as you can into a peach tree, because I was quite young, climbing into that peach tree, smelling those peaches, or standing underneath those branches laden with peaches. And my brothers and I would just eat so many peaches before we'd be found out. You know, we'd have those sticky, juicy faces, lips, fingers dripping down as if they couldn't tell what we'd been doing, you know. But I also had other memories of that farm, those years, those early years. I had these memories of being in my bare feet, walking through the dirt, picking beans, the smell of tomatoes on my fingers, my bare legs stinging from running through those cornfields. And then, of course, the change of seasons would come, and there would be another whole round of visceral, sensory experiences. So these were some of my very early experiences and early connections with nature. And so I would just like to take this moment here and invite you to take a moment and think about an image or a memory or something for you that connects you with nature. Maybe it's something in the past, maybe it's something current. But just take a moment and see if you can get that memory or image in mind. And then just like I'm holding this peach, this beautiful peach in my hand, just hold that memory, that image, just hold that lightly, imagining that in your other hand. During the past week and a half, this congregation has learned that our senior minister, Reverend Katie, will be leaving us at the end of October. She's not leaving to minister another congregation, but to pursue some of what she does best: pastoral care, chaplaincy, perhaps some writing, perhaps some training. Rev Katie's leaving is a change in direction for the congregation. The congregation is now on a new path. It's a path of saying goodbye to a particular minister and a particular ministry, and it's a path of exploring what's next. This brings with it a whole range of emotions, thoughts, wonderings, questions. And if you're visiting today, or you're new here, or perhaps you're just receiving the news, we want you to know that while we are in the beginning of this stage of this transition, we are on top of it. And also, our congregational life continues. Much of how we have been in our worship, in our activities, in our connection and care carries on, even while we look at how our path has changed. As a Western culture, we don't always, this is my opinion, but as Western culture, I don't think we do transitions very well. Our rituals themselves are so focused on events, the baby shower, the wedding, the retirement party, it's like you have that event, and then you're supposed to just move on into your new life. We don't do those things. We're so quick to get to that other side of the transition. We're so quick to get to the baby, and then we want the baby to have already been weaned, and then we want to, we're so quick for those things. And we don't always give ourselves the time to reflect and see how that transition can be as meaningful for us as possible. And we don't always know how to support others or ourselves as we move through those transitions together. So if we want to maneuver through our transitions in ways that really bring about some meaningful, growthful change, we need a few tools and perhaps a little roadmap. In his revised edition of Transitions, Making Sense of Life's Changes, William Bridges notes that there is a difference between change and transition, and we often confuse the two. Change is the event. It is situational. We experience so many changes throughout our lives, whether by choice or circumstance, where there's moves, there's graduating or returning to school, separations, job changes, marriages, babies. I could go on and on, but I won't. You can list a whole handful of them in your own experience, probably recently. There are many losses that we go through regularly. But transition is psychological. Transition is developmental. Transition is how we experience the change. It is the way we engage with the change and the events. It's how we acknowledge what's different, how we acknowledge the losses, the gains, all the things that are coming up around that change, how we muddle through that time of one way of being into becoming a different way of being. It's how we explore the new possibilities and how we embrace them. So when we talk about a ministerial transition, yes, we're talking about a change in minister. Yes, a change in the church system, in congregational life. And we are also talking about how we engage in this process of the ministerial transition. And so no matter whether change comes by chance or choice, transitions are natural processes of letting go of the familiar, allowing a time of not knowing and exploring, and then an openness to possibilities, and a time of integration into the new beginnings. These are natural processes of disorientation and reorientation. A little bit like the story that Virginia read. The wind stops, begins somewhere else. The natural progression. The peach tree puts out its blossoms, and we get the beautiful peaches. There's a natural process to these changes. And during the mid-70s, a little while ago, a man named William Bridges, he left his job as an English professor, and he moved to the country with his young family. And he found himself in the midst of some very difficult inner and outer changes. And not long after his move, he offered to teach a seminar entitled Being in Transition. He figured, well, there were others going through similar changes, and so he did what he knew best, which was to teach, because he was certainly looking for answers himself. And, as a teacher, he knows that if you want to learn something, teach it, and then you'll get the hang of that. And so he came up with one of his first rule of transitions, which is when you are in transition, you find yourself coming back to new ways, to old activities. Bridges was surprised to find such a diversity in his class of 25. There were some folks like him, but mostly there were others facing very different challenges. A man who was recovering from a heart attack, a young woman who had had her first baby, the wife of a retired man, a man who had just received a big promotion at work, a 26-year-old who had suddenly become the father of 4 children, folks who were getting a divorce, folks who were marrying and remarrying. A few women had returned to college after childbearing. 2 people had been fired, a young woman who had just moved out on her own. It was a mix. And yet, as these folks told their stories and shared their experiences, Bridges and the participants began to see some common threads that seemed to weave through all their experiences over time. Bridges wrote down the class, he was good, he was after my own heart. He had his big old newsprint there, I hear. He's got his markers. They just newsprinted all kinds of things that were happening in these classes. And they began to see those threads, and they wrote down their reflections. And from this seminar came the birth of Bridges' model. And also, he had a long career of helping individuals and organizations meet the challenges and change of transition. It came from that. But what emerged from these explorations was this model in 3 stages. There's an ending, or endings. There's a neutral zone, or the time between the old and the not yet new. And there's the new beginnings, where one begins to feel they are in the new way of life. So I like to tell this story about Bridges because his model is so organic. And it came out of the stories of people's lives, their conversations, their willingness to be vulnerable, their willingness to share and risk their experiences. And it was supported by Bridges' knowledge of adult development and his own search for meaning. And over the years, he refined it, he reworked it, he's worked with organizations, and yet it is still the same basic model. It still has the same framework for understanding complex, kind of nonlinear processes of human development. Gil Rendell, some of you may know him from organizational training. He worked for the now defunct Alban Center, has done a lot of training with congregations, and actually was on a video that the board, in their board orientation, also received. He took this model too, and he came up with his adaptation, calling it the roller coaster of change. And his focus mostly on organizations, how they start out here, there's an ending, there's all the emotions, all the reactions. And then you come down here to the not knowing, figuring out, wondering what's next, and then you're going to come up with your possibilities, your strategies, your ideas, your what's next. This roller coaster of change. And one of the things that Gil Rendell also really pointed out is this side, when you're coming on down, it's all about emotions. It's just all about that. And then you're down here, you're kind of like, hey, am I in this or not? Am I sticking with this or am I leaving this? And then as you start coming up, it's all about, okay, what are our resources? What are our strategies? How do we move forward in that way? And the thing is, it's not that like linear, like we do this and then we do this and then we do this. We move through these phases, and sometimes we swing back, a little bit like a roller coaster. Sometimes we're down here in the kind of that neutral zone down here, and then we got to swing back because we have a few emotions that come up. And one of the things I think is really important for in a group, in a congregation, is we as individuals, we have our own ways of managing transitions, of meeting transitions, of meeting change. And so we're not just talking about how the leadership is helping, shape this and support this congregation, but each person is having their own individual experiences of this change. I also like this model. It's very, in other cultures, there are rites of passage. I mean, we have some, we mentioned a couple of them earlier. Other cultures have some very clear ways woven into their days and their cultures of dealing with endings and the waiting period, exploring new beginnings. They're woven into their stages of life, different than we are. Those rites of passage we talk about, there's the young person. The young person is sent off, leaves their childhood. And Teddy, I remember you talking about this. Remember talking about this when you did your talk? When you were graduating? And he talked about leaving behind this familiarity, this childhood, these people, leaving them and going off into his new life, which took probably maybe some transitions. Takes a while. Get through these, move on. But also, this is an archetypal model. Just go with me on this. Just take the leap with me. It's also an archetypal model for the hero's journey. The hero's journey, there's an ending. The hero leaves where they have been, their homeland, their relationships. They leave. They set off on a journey where they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know actually even where they're headed. They just know that they're going in a direction that they need to go in. And they are confronted with all kinds of things. Monsters. Three-headed things. Just go to the movie theater right now. They are confronted with things, and then when they are back, they are transformed. They're not someone different. They are someone more of who they are. They are stronger. They are more of themselves, and they are bringing something back to that community. Also, just keep going with me. It's a spiritual journey. This is a spiritual journey. Going through a transition is a spiritual journey. We have these images from our spiritual heritage. Buddha left his home. He went looking for what is suffering. How do we know what suffering is? How do we handle it? He walked and listened and sat, and he became enlightened, and he brought that enlightenment back. And his world and the people he interacted with were stronger too. Jesus was out. There's many. We talk about going off on the spiritual journey, and going through the dark night of the soul, and then coming back. So, thanks for going along with me without those. But here's the thing I want to say. First of all, there's no right or wrong way to go through these stages. So as proficient, as efficient, as knowledgeable your leaders are, they cannot lead you, and then we can do this, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. No, they're flexible too. And they're going to be they're going to be listening to you, and they're going to be learning, and they're going to be rely on other resources from the Unitarian Universalist Association and other people in the community. It's not a straight line. So as we enter into this transition, this ministerial transition, there's going to be right now we're in an ending phase. We're in an ending, and your leaders are a little ahead of you. They're looking into some other ways. But this is going to take a little while. And so we want to be as ready as we can for that. So I'm just suggesting a few things. One, that each of you is contributing to this transition in whatever way that is. You are contributing to helping move through this journey and this path. And only you can answer what that is for you. But to know that this is a communal activity, this is a communal event, and that, it's important to see what is, to recognize as much as you can what is, and then also to move on, to stay connected, to not rush the process, We'll want to be who's that? Are we going to get a contract minister? Are we going to get an intern? What are we doing? Well, right now, we're dealing with those emotions, the grieving, the loss, figuring out how we want to be together. So it's about the peaches. So in one hand is the peach. So this can be a rough road. But in one hand, you have perhaps this map, perhaps some ideas that have come from today, perhaps some of your own ideas of how to move through a transition that will help you. And knowing that there are going to be times when you don't know, when you wonder are we doing the right thing? Should I keep showing up for this? You wonder these things. You have your peach. You have your image, your piece of nature, however that is for you, to remember, to hold that lightly, that is there for you. To remember there's a phase, there's a process. It's a natural process of letting go, of exploring, of finding what's new. It is a natural process. And perhaps a peach or whatever image you have will help you remember that when things start getting a little bit rough. You can go through this transition and go doot-de-doot. You can say, okay, we're going to do this and this, and doot-de-doot-de-do. You know what I mean by doot-de-do? Yeah. You can go through this transition doot-de-doot. You can, and that is okay. No judgment. Doot-de-doot is doot-de-doot. But you can also recognize this is an important time in the life of this congregation. It is a meaningful time. It is a time when there will be decisions to be made and questions to be asked, and a time that you have an opportunity to become more of who All Souls is, to step onto that path as a journey, a meaningful path that each of you are a part of making happen. So let's take a moment. Let's just sit with the peaches, the images, the questions, the wonderings, perhaps the emotions that you came to church with today. Let's just sit with those a moment. And then Liz will play us a few notes so we can just notice what has come up for each of us today and how we want to carry that forward for ourselves. Liz.
Thank you, Reverend Nancy. This week, we are sharing our offering plate with DRUM, the Diverse and Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries. DRUM is a Unitarian Universalist people of color ministry and an anti-racist collective bringing lay and religious professionals together to overcome racism. DRUM aligns with our UU values by working toward an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, multicultural UUA, and by creating space for youth, young adults, and our families of color to heal and work collectively. To contribute, you can gift cash or a check into the collection plate, or if you are online, you can go to allsoulsindy.org, where you will find a link that says Donate on the top right corner. If you are paying online or if you're using a check, please indicate if your gift is a pledge payment or if it is for Share the Plate. Thank you for your generosity in supporting the mission of All Souls. Thank you for your continued love for one another and for this world. The morning offering may now be given and will be gratefully received.
Good morning. So Teddy and I are going to be singing 1020 in your teal hymnals. Full disclosure, we learned it this morning. So please sight read and sing along with us. We would love you to join in as we sing Woyea, number 1020 in the teal hymnal. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We are going. Heaven knows how we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Words of Wendell Berry, the poet Wendell Berry. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's singing. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tread